blocked by the rain. We just don't have any view of it whatsoever. Back to you in the studio.
Okay, a couple of things. We have the sirens going off in Independence. We have the sirens going off also in the Riverside area. KCI is decided to have their people go to their safe area, evacuating if you will, but still in a safe shelter. And some of the flights, as you would imagine, have been diverted and already had that going up at KCI. Just one other thing to mention there. This is now a new, fresh storm track because it is moving due east. So as you notice here, downtown airport in about 10 minutes or so. North Kansas City at 7:35, Harris at 7:37, and Ameristar at 7:43. Still under that tornado warning until 8 o'clock, mainly for Wyandotte County, Jackson County, portions of Platte and Clay, and going farther out to the east. Once again, this
get life insurance.
This shit is real, friends. There's people out there like where that storm truck is. Is probably about 5 minutes, if that, driving from where the tornado is right now, and it's moving northeast about, well, it's southwest of me right now.
We've also have a lot of our reporters that are out in the field. I think Matt Fleener is involved with our coverage.
I'll try to show you when they put the big map back up. It's hard to see the little map there, but I'll try to show you where I'm located next time they put it up. That shit is crazy.
And 435.
169 and 435.
Vineyard Church is what I heard.
How far is that? That's about 5-minute drive from here.
Reflying around by KCIA.
Hey, yeah, about 5-minute drive. That's where they are right now. About 5 minutes southwest of me. Oh, there it is. Hold on.
You know, looking at where the debris signature is and looking at where the rotation is, I don't want to overstep my bounds.
We're like,
I'm
what,
certainly
right here?
going to confer with the National Weather
We're like
Service, but
right
it appears that the
little further
evidence of
up.
the rotation is now east of Wyandotte County.
We're like
So
right
here.
maybe you can
Well, no,
ease
we're
up
like
a
right
little
here.
bit,
Yeah.
unfortunately, and take assessment as to what happened damage-wise since this thing has been on the ground.
So that's where my mic's not close over there, but that's where I'm located.
Farther out to the west.
This is where I was pointing.
I'm thinking that since the back edge of the tornado.
So it might keep north of us.
Here's where you see the rotation. So 635 and westward in Wyandotte County, it looks like at least the most dangerous part of the storm has passed you by, and now it's focused from Parkville going through Wyandotte County, at least not too far away from KCK, and then moving farther to the east. This is one of our city view cameras over downtown, and this is going to be the storm that is producing the tornado warning. You also hear some of our buzzers going off. That is for a flash flood warning that continues because at one time earlier, Albany was surrounded by water. There was a flash flood emergency up there. Okay, and so that is the other part of our story. And before I get to the anchors, because I know that Laura and Chris have some information there, let me go to there. And there's where you see now, it was just for the northern tier of Missouri, but now it includes most of the Kansas City metro for the heavy rain and farther to the south and southwest. So we'll continue to get those reports coming in from the field. Still a tornado warning out for Jackson County, small Porter Platte County, and also Clay counties right in there. Very close to downtown. There's another weather busted that a tornado or possible tornado can't hit a downtown area. We'll tell that to this one. That's still on the ground, at least showing that rotation. Severe thunderstorm warning for that same area because it has had a history of producing a tornado, and a severe thunderstorm watch remains in effect as well over the northern tier. Chris.
All right, real quick, and take it back whenever you have to. We're getting reports of damage, especially on the south side of Lawrence, Kansas, and just a little bit to the south of the city in what are probably rural parts of Douglas County as well.
One sec, I'm gonna try to get better color for this. Thanks, Les.
Throughout the evening, and now our crews are getting in there and figuring out whether people are safe.
We're hoping, man.
What kind of damage
It's
there is to report.
it looks like it might go just north of us. That's kind of the hope right now.
Especially north of the river, downtown, up in Liberty and Clay County, in Waldo, in Brookside, places that you wouldn't necessarily think something like this would would be happening, but it is that kind of a storm. Katie?
The storm has weakened, but it could re-strengthen, and that's why you're still hearing the tornado sirens, because they want you to be in a safe place in case it should.
So yeah, let's see. I'll try to show you where we are. Well, where it says Kansas City on the S, we're just north of that. Like where Kansas City's, where it says that. So I mean, it's looks like the brunt of it. It kind of split our city a bit.
So what they've asked is that you do not go sightseeing right now. Do not get in your car and go.
Do not get in your car. People like,
Experts who are trained first responders.
dude, and we got class act. We got class act right next year. So like straight up, you know, there's people like on their front lawn with a beer, go teeing it up, like straight up.
Gladstone. I'm going to stop the radar here, and notice the rotation is very broad, but there still is rotation in this storm. I also wanted just to show you where the hail is as I switch it over to our hail mode. The hail has decreased considerably, so that's another good sign. And back to the radar mode, we're still getting rain. It's coming down at the rate.
My dog's freaking out. He hates thunder.
So we have that flash
Like he can hear it.
because of that very heavy rain. I can show you that swath as well. The rain that has just come down in the past 3 hours, ranging from 1 to 2 inches, just north of the circulation of the tornado. Brian.
Now I'm just looking at some of the reports that are coming in here, and there's numerous reports of damage, houses, trees, power outages. So this is a tornado that was on the ground for 2 hours straight, maybe lifting for the time being, but still, I'm looking toward probably. I'm just gonna, if you can go to the rotation for 1 quick second. I did want to collect my thoughts.
I
just want to show.
So yeah, this will probably happen again during this summer as it is, and I didn't have an adapter handy in order to feed the TV into my stream, but I will next time. And that way you can just watch the damn local weather with me. Like, it takes obviously a bit out of this to like not be able to hear what the hell they're saying. Basically, what to take from it is get the fuck downstairs, and the unfortunate part about the thing about that is like the average IQ of the people around here. Get the fuck downstairs means sit on your lawn with a beer. So like, you just gotta kind of, you know. I'm gonna go see what it's looking like upstairs. Maybe take a couple pictures. I'll be right back. Well, you just see me walk by, but yeah. And there's my daughter peeking because she thinks this is the coolest thing ever. So anyway, be right back.
Even though it was weakening, it was still showing some signs of rotation.
So yeah, it's just pouring down rain right now outside. Doesn't look terrible, but it's a couple minutes away, I think.
One other thing, Katie, too. Liberty, the city of Liberty, said they are not sounding the tornado.
course,
So yeah, that's a feed from one of our weather choppers
reports of homes
on this particular station.
sustaining significant
There's
damage, but again, no reports of any injuries there. This is also a storm as we have been tracking.
that's downtown Kansas City.
Sort of breezed by the Kansas
I think where they're
Speedway.
broadcasting from,
There are no reports of
just
any,
south of the city.
no reports of any damage out in western Wyandotte County, at least.
So what they're showing, yeah, what he's talking about right now is out to the west of us. There's 4 huge storms that'll be coming in within the hour. One of those up towards Marysville probably won't hit us based on the jet stream. But any one of those south of Marysville, like Manhattan, and the one coming through Emporia, that big ass one, will probably hit us. Will probably come toward us. So we're gonna be like in the clear for a minute, and then it's just gonna come back through. So Lawrence, Kansas, which if you ever heard of the Legends area, that's kind of like one of our big like hopping districts just west of Kansas City. They were showing earlier from the chopper that the tornado was touched down just next to the Legends. The Kansas City Speedway, if you've ever been there. It was right above it for a while. People just going about their days, man. No worries.
I really hope this isn't trying to spin up again, but if it does, we'll be in the position to spot it for you, Brian. I'll say.
Here, actually, let me fix something here.
So on weather 2, if we can, please. This is going to be, and Nick, I'm going to throw back to you in just 1 second after we do the storm track. Give estimated times of arrival. Kearney at 7:54, Lathrop, Missouri at 8:09, This is heading to the east and northeast. So this is the tornado warning now for Clay County, portions of Clay County. Certainly not down toward Glen Eyre, not down toward sort of Worlds of Fun, but it is going to include at least a good chunk of real estate, even going farther to the east and northeast or Clinton County. But right now, just for Clay County. Go ahead, Katie.
I'm just going to say I'm estimating a 30-mile-an-hour wind speeds. I don't have that confirmed, so timing could change.
Okay. So here are the timelines again for Polo at 8:33, Hamilton at 8:45, and New York, Missouri, that is at 8:48. Let me throw it to Nick Bender. Go ahead.
Right.
We'll continue to go.
It's
Yeah.
gonna be tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brian, we're heading north on Interstate 35. It's going to be tough to get out ahead of this. This is that part of the storm that was showing rotation. This is going to be moving towards Kearney, Mosby, Excelsior Springs. You need to take your tornado precautions right now. The storm is showing signs of rotating, and it could be capable of producing a tornado at any time. The environment remains favorable for additional tornadoes this evening to the east of this storm. It's the same storm that produced the long track violent tornado from Lawrence all the way to the Speedway, though it's not showing quite the velocities or intensifications it was earlier. We need to respect the warning, respect the ingredients that are in place.
Clay County until 8:13. That's where I am, Clay County.
35 from Liberty up to Kearney.
Oh, and here comes the...
The National Weather Service in Pleasant Hill has issued a tornado warning for central Clay County until 8:15 p.m. At 7:50 p.m., a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located near Liberty, moving east at 35 miles per hour. Expected hazards include tornado and quarter-size hail. This is a radar-indicated threat. The following effects are expected. Flying debris will be dangerous to those caught without shelter. Mobile homes will be damaged or destroyed. Damage to roofs, windows, and vehicles will occur. Tree damage is likely. Locations impacted include Liberty, Excelsior Springs, Kearney, Mosby, and Brothersville. This includes Interstate 35 in Missouri between mile markers 20 and 26. Take cover now. Move to a basement or an interior room on the lowest floor of a sturdy building. Avoid windows. If you are outdoors, in a mobile home, or in a vehicle, move to the closest substantial shelter and protect yourself from flying debris. Repeating, a tornado warning has been issued until 8:15 p.m. for the following county: Clay, Missouri.
Yeah, my phone.
As Nick was talking about, a little more re-intensification, and I know he can't get ahead of it quite yet, but he is.
Yeah, this shit's nuts, dude. Yeah, what's up, Roman? Yeah.
Brian, I decided to change my course here. I don't want to change my course. It's going to come over me, and I'm not going to be able to get out ahead of it. We're heading to Mosby. I'm going to try to get to Excelsior Springs, because if this rotation holds, it's actually going to go to Excelsior Springs. So I'm looking at the clouds. I'm looking at the north and west. I'm looking for any signs of localized rotation. I mean, you know this road pretty well. It's kind of tough with a lot of hills here and a lot of trees.
Yeah, well, the great thing about a hurricane, right, is like,
But from
if you're not dumb, you know it's coming and you just leave.
you take your tornado per
Tornado, like, we didn't know necessarily. I mean, they knew that there was going to be bad weather today, but that's like 24-hour notice. Like, you don't know how bad it's going to be or where it's necessarily going to hit. There's not really a, it's not a good way.
right now. Brian, back to you.
Okay. Thank you. There is also trying to
My
see,
studio down here, I mean, I'm set up in the sub-basement as it is, right? So, like, right now where I'm sitting is about 10 feet underground. So I'm surrounded by cement, basically. So even if, and you'll, hey, if my house goes down, you'll see it until the power goes out, right? Because, like, I'll just move the cam directly up and you'll see that shit. But, you know, let's hope that doesn't happen.
There is northeast 138th Street, so you get your bearings. Here would be, as you're going farther to the east and northeast, the Interstate 35. So this is now east of Interstate.
My studio is not insured, no. The house is insured.
That's the area of rotation. that is still prompting the Weather Service for continuing now a tornado warning.
Because I want to see a roof fly off
Mainly north of the river
the
this
house.
weekend. Only showing that signs of weakening at all.
I might be able to, dude. I don't even know.
Once in a while when you jog too much, you gotta take a breath, calm down, then you're good to go thereafter. Storms are no different.
So they're saying we're good. Like, yeah, I don't know how well. I know I can turn it up a little bit, but that'll be the best I can do. Like I was saying earlier, I don't have an adapter handy to put the feed from the cable through the stream right now. I will next time, because this shit will happen this summer again. Now that I have everything set up, like, properly, how it really should be set up.
It looked like it was low to the ground, and that is the part of the storm
Or is that just lightning?
that's capable of
Because I could just get the entire feed from.
we'll continue to watch that, Brian.
We'll stay with your picture.
Well, shit, with my game capture card, next time I'll just, because I just got it, and it's not hooked up yet, I would be able to just put the HDMI feed straight from the news on here.
Coming over Interstate 35 and 69 highway there, so kind of like sandwiched right in between there, just south of Kearney. So just south of Kearney on Interstate 35 all the way down to 69 highway north and west of Mosby. That's where this storm is showing signs of rotation and where it could
Get that music going again for a sec.
Brian, I'm going to send it back.
Holy shit, that's like 5 minutes ago. They said those are greenhouses and a nursery. They went right through there. You can see those houses. So there you go, Indigo. Oh, okay, that's an hour and a half ago by Lawrence, Kansas, right there. Oh, it's even, the feed's cutting out. Their feed's cutting out. That's the shit that happened, dude. Make it a little bit bigger here. Fuck my logo.
And boy, it looks like one house completely off its foundation. Keep going, Patrick. Up to the right there, and zoom right there.
I think I fixed. I'll keep messing with the webcam to see. I fixed it a bit. It's better than it was.
That gives you an idea of the extent of the.
Holy shit, dude.
Here to the right, too, Patrick. Go ahead and pull back for me, and then to the right, keep coming right, and tilt down a little bit, and there's another house that is completely destroyed. Again, it appears as though it was maybe 100 yards wide at this location. Keep coming back to the left, and 2 or 3 houses completely gone.
My phone's going off. That's my dad. He was closer to that first storm than. Hold on. No problem here. How about you? I'm good. Oh, here comes. That's my phone. That's the shit that comes through. Sorry.
Down and follow it all the way over to the end. This is pretty intense and serious damage to these houses, confirming that it was a
Hey,
very,
Johnny,
very
hate to interrupt you there, my friend. We'll get back to you, but we still have this rotation that's a little tighter with the current tornado warning that's going on. Nick, you were on it. I know you're still trying to get in a better position, but there you see that rotation, which is getting stronger. I'll throw it to you in a second, sir. South of Kearney, that's right now. There's Chandler Road, just so you get your bearings. And right down the path is Mosby. Those are some of the same cities that we've been mentioning for you. Now moving east about 35, so Seltzer Springs, as Nick told you, getting that safe area. Crystal Lakes at 812, and also Mosby is right on your back doorstep. So once again, this is now the tornado warning that at least shows a little tighter rotation. Nick, what are you seeing? We lost this picture? Okay, that's fine.
They lost the chopper's picture. They lost the feed from the chopper.
There was a debris signature that you're looking at?
I do not see a debris signature on the Kearney storm, but what I was seeing was the debris blowing off of the storm that produced the tornado that Johnny is on. That wind is blowing that over Smithville Lake,
Okay.
and you can clearly see that on the storm debris graph.
Issue that warning that lasts for
Here, I'm gonna see if it'll come through a little bit. You can hear what he's saying a little bit.
It's not as weak as it was, and as I even told you 5 minutes ago, these storms have a life history. They have a life cycle. Sometimes they get weak, sometimes they get strong. This one is showing at least some signs of indicating that it's going to stay together and stay up for a while. Not up in the cloud, I mean up as in its intensity for a while. So between Kearney and going down toward Chandler, now it's going farther to the east. It's east of I-30. Lake and Mosby as well, which is once again in the path of this tornado warning for Clay County through the 8 o'clock hour, at least a good portion of the 8 o'clock hour. Still looking at some of the reports that are coming in here. Rotation still along Highway 33 and others as well. So this is not necessarily confirmed on the ground, but this has had the history of lasting for 2 hours straight. And usually when you think of a tornado, they're only on the ground for what, 10, 15, 18 minutes max. This one's been on the ground before this happened for about 2.5 hours or so. Because remember,
On the ground for 2.5 hours.
Lawrence, Kansas, and now you see right where it is as it's continuing to move through. So there it is. Now a tornado warning extending farther to the east toward Rayville. So this is going to cross county line into Ray County as they're extending it now. This will be going in effect until 8:30 this evening for the storm that's moving east at 35. And as you mentioned, Katie and also Pete, who's on the controls of First Alert Radar, this is it. And remember,
Yeah, dude, it's gonna be hitting Killington soon. Killington, Missouri, east of me.
Embedded within the line, so it's not going to be as clear cut as it was earlier in the evening, and now it's going to be a little more difficult to see. So within this small little band that you see here is enough of rotation. And as First Alert Live Radar goes around to see the update, one good thing about First Alert Live Radar, it can update every 90 seconds because it takes about that long, a minute to a minute and a half.
Well, so where it came to maybe 10 minutes ago now, 10 to 15 minutes ago now, it basically just went just north of me by minutes. Minutes drive. Right there where they're talking about Kearney, we're like southwest of that a bit. So we're off the screen, but they're worried about that one at the moment because what it's doing is it's hitting the east side of their coverage area for weather. That's what's hitting right now. And so the ones that are coming from our west, they'll get to that once it starts to move in on this area again.
Can you get my fear? I got a large
So they're covering that. Oh, there you go. Wall clouds.
Just north of Mosby. If you check
Mosby.
the terminal Doppler radar there, it's going to show the rotation more defined than what's coming out of Pleasant Hill right now. Unfortunately, it's starting to wrap up again. So if you are in Mosby, this looks like this is going to pass just north of you in Mosby, moving toward Excelsior Springs, Excelsior Estates, and Lawson. You need to be in your tornado shelter right now. Behind behind that tree line, turn her a little bit to the right. It's going to be just behind this "Do Not Enter" sign. I can see the right side of the wall cloud. So that's a pretty big rotating wall cloud that is about 2 to 3 miles to my north and west. And Brian, I really think it's starting to wrap up here on the radar between Kearney and Mosby, right between Kearney.
Kearney's north of us a bit.
Moving toward Excelsior Springs.
Your aunt and your grandpa live there.
Oh fuck! Hold on. That shit, dude. That's what's up. Welcome to the Midwest, friends.
The National Weather Service in Pleasant Hill has issued a tornado warning for northeastern Clay County, northwestern Ray County until 8:30 p.m. At 8:02 p.m., a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located over Kearney, moving east at 35 miles per hour. Expected hazards include tornado and quarter-size hail. This is a radar-indicated threat. The following impacts are expected. Flying debris will be dangerous to those caught without shelter. Mobile homes will be damaged or destroyed. Damage to roofs, windows, and vehicles.
Oh, we just got a flicker if you saw the lights flicker at all.
Damage is likely.
If power goes out, I'm Peace Reno, by the way, for a while probably.
Excelsior Estates, Woods Heights, Rayville, Mosley, Homestead, and
The weather service is not even having a. They don't even have a feed they can go through.
Interstate 35 in Missouri between mile markers 26 and 27.
Is she in here?
Take cover now.
She texting you?
Move to a basement or an interior room on the lowest floor of a sturdy building. Avoid windows.
Come here, Moose. Come here, buddy.
Outdoors. In a mobile home.
I got 2 cats and 2 dogs down here.
Move to close to substantial shelter.
Yeah, I will.
Protect yourself from flying.
I appreciate that, Ramen.
Heavy rainfall.
The Discord app is so terrible on Android, by the way, but I have it.
Ahead of the storm. Cloud motion's really starting to ramp up right ahead of us, Brian Turner. This is going to be off the hood and a little bit to the left. This is going to be back to our south and our west. Cloud motion's pretty violent, Brian. This is probably on the ground right behind the tree line.
That's about 2 miles away from Mosby,
yeah, let's
right?
back up.
Yeah, you guys stay safe. Let's take it here and show you that latest storm track. What we have coming up behind me, you put in number 2, yeah, links 2, talking about the debris signature. See the blues in the middle of the sea of red? That's an indication that there's something, once again, that the radar's picking up and spitting out. And it's not just a raindrop or a hailstone. It is building material. That's where he is. And so
Oh, I can hear the
north of Mosby is
thunder
that
outside right now.
signature that he is seeing. So it's a combination.
Hold
of
on, my
radar
daughter's on the
signals,
phone with somebody
combination of
saying they're in the fucking
It looks like
car.
it'll continue to at least be the tornado
I'm muted
warning
for a
that
sec.
Weather
Hold
Service
on.
issued on producing a tornado.
Everybody's okay right now,
Kansas side,
Ramen.
close to Lawrence, and still
Like, my dad lives southwest of me, kind of where it originated,
hours later.
more or less.
So first alert
And he
flash,
texted 5 or so minutes ago
showing
that he
you
was doing fine.
that if we didn't take
So, I mean,
some
that's
of the
good.
other sort of lenses away, you would say, okay, well, it's just a line of thunderstorms, but just embedded within there is where we see the notch, and there is a warm front, and it's that warm front that has the change in wind direction, focusing the energy, and that's exactly what you see happening. This is now the rotation that we're looking at, and so Excelsior Springs.
Got to go
I'm
back to
hoping
that
you
Garth
notice
Brooks, because Garth
this is
Brooks.
not too far away from you. Make sure you're in your safe area, putting as many walls between you and the
My
outside.
dog is, like,
The
growling.
first
Hold on.
storm track is blowing a little bit because it's still down on the east at 20 or 25 miles an hour. And the benefit of our live radar is to be able to update every minute to minute and a half. But if you notice there, it's back in the moderate or medium range of the rotation. Not just the green, but it's a little stronger than that. And Katie, I know you have looking at on system 2 with her on cam, you're looking at the velocities or the wind speeds within
Yeah,
that
and
storm.
seeing the signatures on the Doppler, and we're intersecting this storm using the radar that is located just south of Kansas City. So we're intersecting it pretty high in the sky, but it shows a very clear rotation here, at least 63 mile per hour winds inbound and about 20 to 30 to 40 mile an hour winds outbound, and it's strengthening as we look at, good call by meteorologist Nick Bender, who was right under this storm as it produced a wall cloud and then dropped a tornado. If you are in Excelsior Springs, Crystal Lake, Wood Heights, Bavard, Claysville, Crescent Lake, Greenville, New Garden, you are in the path of this tornado right now. This tornado spotted on the ground by meteorologist Nick Bender and Storm Tracker 9. I have put his placement on this map so you can see.
The dog's going fucking nuts. Well, both of them.
Less than a mile south and east of the circulation. So he's got a first row view of this tornado. This is the one that is in Clay County. It's associated with a tornado warning that goes until 8:30 as it crosses into Ray County. It's not yet to the border, the county line between Clay and Ray, but it's heading in that direction.
Oh, it's hard to see because the webcam. That cam they have up
and northeast at approximately 30
from that
miles an hour.
storm truck.
Thank you, Bri.
Mm-hmm.
Excelsior Springs 813. It's
Rain's pretty
8:10
bad.
right now. You've got no time. Get downstairs right now. Lay down. Protect your head. Protect your body. If you're out ahead of this storm and you have a baby, put your baby in a car seat in your basement. Protect that baby on as many sides as you can. Put whatever you can around your body to protect you from flying debris. You've seen the pictures of the damage, the homes that have been damaged in Kansas when this storm moved in, and now the storm has recycled and is spinning a tornado right now just north of Mosby. I want you to know, Liberty, you're fine. Kearney, you are now okay. The storm is to your east. Missouri City, the storm is not coming towards you, but you may feel a very strong inflow wind coming in from the south. Excelsior Springs, you are in the path of this storm. Polo, I don't think the storm is going to come your way, but Richmond, I want you to keep a close eye. If this tornado takes a right turn, you would then be in the path, but right now it appears that it would cross into central Ray County. Let me give you some streets. This is along Highway 92, just south of Greenville right now. Let me put Nick on there so you can see Nick is on Highway 33. This storm tracking just really pinpoints
All right, Ramen.
where this is. That's Highway
We'll see you in a bit, buddy.
92 and Worrell Road, north of Crescent Lake.
Thanks for the thoughts, bud.
Mosby. The winds aloft are very strong from the south to the northeast, so you may see some of this debris fly towards you in Polo, but the tornado itself is moving more east-northeast, Brian.
One more time with the storm track there with the correlation coefficient behind me, so you saw that. So that's the debris. So this is not just a radar indicated tornado. It seems like there is some truth and also ground truth that is, and also the radar itself kind of going hand in hand with that, as well as some of these storm spots. What's that?
Truth works.
Yes, it does help. That is very true. Nick, I know you're trying to get to a safe spot where you can kind of see. Let me throw it to you for one quick second. But yeah, your report was relayed to the Weather Service, and we still have that tornado warning out there. Nick, if you're on, go ahead.
Brian, this is going to be behind the line of storms. It's actually behind the rain by quite a bit. So we are going to be able to see this once we take a peek up 69 Highway. This is going to come awful close to Excelsior Springs. It looks like it's going to go right in between Excelsior Springs and Excelsior Estate and Crystal Lakes. Evidence that this is a strong tornado moving to the east. You need to be in your tornado shelters immediately. Jim, is this 69 Highway? Yeah, this is 69. So I want to just kind of stay here. I need to get a vantage point behind me. So you need to pull over. Brian, I just got really bad visibility right here. You're going to hear me take my mic off real quick. I need to just pop my head out this window.
While you're doing that, it looks like this tornado, according to the National Weather Service, is heading right toward the Excelsior Springs Hospital. I'll repeat that. This tornado is heading right toward the Excelsior Springs Hospital, so they're hoping that people are going to take shelter. The crew and the staff there know exactly what precautions they need to take, but this is a tornado confirmed on the ground, heading toward Excelsior Springs, and now with a beeline heading toward Excelsior Springs Hospital. Nick, if you're back in, I can certainly throw it back to you, but this is still... Go for it, sure.
This is straight north of us. All right, Brian, this is This is coming right through our position. This is at about a mile to the north of us. This is northwest of Excelsior Springs. You need to be in your tornado shelters right now. You are looking at the part of the storm that's producing the tornado. It is going to be rain wrapped, so it's not going to be very visible. We're going to have to look for power flashes, which is the tornado going through the utility poles and more than likely snapping them off at the base. Was that a power flash there? That might have been a power flash. North of Excelsior Springs, that was a green flash. If it was lightning, it would have been blue. I think that this is a strong tornado on the ground. Tornado sirens are going off here.
Yeah, there's the sirens if you can hear it from the feed. That shit is nuts.
A pretty strong circulation. It's going to be lifting right into Excelsior Springs. Brian, here's what I'm going to do. I don't have great road options here, and I want to be more of an assistance than spot this storm since we've got it on radar.
Right.
I'm going to let it cross the highway, and then I'm going to go north, and I'm going to look for the damage path and see if anybody needs help in Excelsior Estates. Because I think this is going through it right now. I mean, this tornado is causing damage. So we're going to wait, and we're just going to slowly go north on this 69.
Okay, so that was the intersection, was it 69 and 33? Is that what you said, Katie?
69 and 92 highway.
92, I'm sorry, 92 is just going out of there. So on a path now for Excelsior Springs Estates, and at one time it looked like a portion of the storm is heading towards the hospital itself in Excelsior. So this is once again every bit of medium, if not high rotation that's still showing you there. And that's one of the things we could do with, this is now System 1 behind me, which is great. So Pete, go ahead and go, this is where you saw Nick's position, and this is what he was looking at there. This is now, at least to give you some cross streets, there'd be Fine Street. There would be Bronte Street. This is now 92, just to the north of that cell. And now, in the last update, it is up there, very close to that intersection that we were referring to. So the rotation is there. This is confirmed on the ground. I think we were seeing some debris signature. Yeah, we still are. So this is not just a radar indicated. This is a combination of the radar seeing it and Nick and other spotters out there. There's that debris that we were referring to, very close to Highway 92. And there you could also see Rainbow Boulevard. So this is very close to between Excelsior Springs Estates. And that is a pretty good indication that this thing is still on the ground. And that's why they've extended the warning to not only include Clay County, but also Ray County as well. Going through most of the 8 o'clock hour through about 8:45, at least that's what I remember going. Now east at 25 miles an hour. I'm going to check that expiration time one more time just to make sure.
East at 25?
East at 25, yeah. You want to do a storm track, go right ahead.
Certainly.
So this is until 8:30. This is the tornado for 8:30. Go for Nick. Nick, what do you got?
Brian, this is going to be crossing the road right ahead of us. This is 69 heading out of Excelsior Springs up to Excelsior Estates. This is going to be coming right over the road, so as it comes over the road, you may see some power flashes. This is approximately 2 miles ahead of us. We're going to get up here to these traffic lights, so we're in the rain on the backside. This tornado is behind the rain. So you're going to get rain, and then you're going to get the tornado with the rain. It's going to be very difficult to see this. The only indication that we're going to have from it is the power flashes, and I think you're at a time in Excelsior Springs. It's pretty much right on top of you. It's coming over 69 Highway into Excelsior Springs right now. We're going to just slowly go up here and watch the damage path. Go ahead and just slowly go up here. I don't want to go too fast. Just kind of slowly move your way up. Keep going. Brian, if we have anything, I'll let you know. Just kind of keep me up.
And I would say stay where you are right now.
Highway right now. It's
just to be on the safe side?
right now.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we're only going at about 20 miles an hour.
Okay. Definitely, sometimes hopefully we'll not start to back build or start to occlude. But yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, we're going to keep you up. There was a video that came in earlier from when it was very close to Kearney. This coming in from one of our viewers who sent this in via social media. I think that was some of the video that we saw earlier. If you do have it punched up there, you did mention it. And also, Nick, I think we're going to keep your mic hot just in case you do need to interrupt. But there you hear the sirens going off. This was the tornado itself, very close to Kearney, Missouri. So
I mean, it was a couple minutes north of us
there are two,
a bit ago, but there's like
as I
4
was talking
more
about
cells coming through.
hey Nick, I hope you can hear me.
There's like
Possibly
supposed to be 4
tornadoes,
more.
one near Excelsior Estates and one near Excelsior
We have power, yeah.
Springs.
It flickered
so one
like
west of
twice.
Excelsior Estates and one near Excelsior
If
Estates.
you,
so it looks like
I mean, the
there are
stream's
two
up,
that we're going to
just
have to
has
be worried about. Just
local
wanted
weather
to
on.
let you know that.
There are two.
If you care
They're
about
both
local
over
weather, since we
Excelsior
can't get it.
Estates. They look like they're both over Excelsior Estates. One's over the highway, and I think the other one's on the east side of town.
Yeah, I got you.
I've got a southwest wind at my position, and I am about 1.5 miles south of the west one. I've got a southwest wind.
I mean, we had like sirens and it
Strong
barely missed us,
southwest
but
Okay, appreciate that. So
Like,
there
we're
you
fine.
see it. It is
And
now.
I've got storm chasers coming up on my rear.
yeah, I mean, she's fine. They went back upstairs
Yeah,
because
we
we
got
have
a
a
lot of
bit
people
before
out here
next.
chasing on this highway. They should not.
We have like
not
30
be
minutes, I
chasing on
think.
this highway. Keep going, Jim.
Assuming that those
Keep going,
they
Jim.
were coming northeast. So.
Give me about 25 miles an hour. Keep going. We got a southwest wind. It's coming over the highway up here at about 1.25 miles. We're in a safe spot.
You know, that's another thing I guess we should caution
Alright.
because there's a lot of folks who want to go out and see and try to leave it
Alright.
to the professionals. Definitely stay off the roads.
Sure.
So this is now a confirmed tornado,
This is
one of
lifting
two
into
of them
Excelsior
actually.
Estates right now.
So there we see Crystal Lakes. You see in the smaller box down in the lower left, the live picture from about where Storm Tracker 9 is located.
There looks like there are two.
There you
One's coming
see
into Excelsior
the
Estates
rotation
right
there of where
now. Jim,
Nick is,
35.
and is about ready to cross into Ray County as well. So there you see two different individual tornadoes that are heading into that area, and that's why the tornado warning is now for Clay and Ray counties until 8:30. This is a dangerous and large tornado, not just a small rope, not just a small one that you would see like in the Wizard of Oz. This one is a wedge at one time, and if not one, it has a twin with it. So there are two that are going through there. Definitely, I'm a little bit distracted to make sure that my crew is safe, and so I know Nick is very adept at storm tracking, but I just want to make sure that everything is all right with him, although he is behind it, and the other cell is up toward, that would be Claysville, so that's already across county line into Ray County. So the tornadoes are still out there, and just when you thought, okay, it's over, it's now over the Kansas City Metro and weakening, and as we told you, it's going to possibly start to ramp back up, and that's exactly what's going on, although we do have a little more daylight. These are tornadoes on the ground, and what's going to make it even more difficult, Katie, is once we see these tornadoes after dark, and all you can do is rely on power flashes and lightning, that's when it's going to be even more difficult to spot these things. We're going to have to rely more on radar than anything else.
I see indication of debris near Claysville. That's right on the county line between Clay County and Ray County near Excelsior Estates. That's the most obvious circulation that I see, and Nick is just about 1/2 mile south of that. I'll pull the radar out. Brian, I'm not catching the second rotation.
So yeah, I'm in Clay County, and they're saying it's like back building, and we still have those four.
As I look at the debris signature,
We still have those 4 cells that are still southwest of us
Scott,
that should be coming through within the hour.
Come to Storm Tracker 9.
go ahead.
I said, go ahead, Nick.
Hey, this is Nick.
I'm gonna go
I've got
see.
debris falling out of the sky here.
I'm gonna go
This
upstairs
is,
and see what's going on
this is just
top
outside
side.
Excelsior Estates.
Oh, there you
Big
go.
lightning flash. It's okay. Keep going.
Shit,
this
son.
Is falling out behind the tornadic circulation or the tornado. Slowly here. Yeah, I've got. It looks like it's not all
All right.
vegetation. It's not all leaves. It's
I'll be right back,
it
friends.
does
The
look
feed's
like
going.
some type of building equipment,
Be right back.
shingles. Keep going here. Just look for any homes that might have been hit that we can help. We're coming up into Excelsior Estates. I still got power here, but I do have debris coming down out of the sky. Small pieces. A lot of it looks to be like tree branches, tree limbs, leaves, that type of thing. But I did see what looked to be like shingles that might be from the homes that are here to the west of the highway. It doesn't look as strong anymore on radar, on velocity. Is there damage to the power lines here? Let's just be careful we don't drive over any power lines. But Brian, yeah, this did definitely do damage. I mean, that matches up with what we saw on the radar. I'm looking around here. Everything appears to be intact. I can't tell. What is this up here? Is this just leaning because it's an old...
No, it's not leaning.
No, okay. All right, Brian, we continue just a heavy rain here back now behind the line. Everything appears to be okay right now. It's tough to tell. That debris probably came to my west. But it definitely, you want to let the Weather Service probably know the type of debris, the size of debris that was falling. There's a lot of that's over the highway here, coming up into Excelsior Estates. Small pieces of tree limbs, shingles, that type of thing, Brian. That's just evidence that there's a tornado here.
There we go. And again, it's had the history for a while now, unfortunately, causing it to go through its life cycle, and now it's moving further east of the Kansas City metro, and now heading from Clay County into Ray County. But as mentioned, if you're starting to see shingles and other building material falling from the sky, that's evidence that there was a touchdown at one time. So Storm Tracker, you see his position there, and you also see some of the other rotation that's still showing up by our radar system. So this is now the current location of Storm Tracker. As a matter of fact, let's live up to its name. Let's do a First Alert Storm Track to let other communities know where it's going to be heading. Still think that we're going to use the vector of east at 25, or a little bit. Let's go a little bit east, northeast, just a little bit. That's Pete on the controls, right? Yeah, because this is our system 1. So Pete, put whatever sort of parameter you want to put behind me, but let's go just a little bit north of 90, so maybe about 80 or 70 degrees, and see what happens there. At about 30 miles an hour. So this is, as we're looking here, the storm tracker is back this way. There's Crystal Lakes. This is the rotation that has been evident for a while, still with the tornado warning that's been there and lasting until 8:30, so another 4 minutes or so. Still no indication that it's loosening its grip, no indication that it's weakening. But as we put that storm track on, it's still going to be heading through Ray County now, moving across county line as well. And if it is continuing to hold together, there are going to be some other areas that are more susceptible to more damage and the possibility of, well, this signature that's going out there. The gate-to-gate shear, in plain English terms, the winds still showing evidence of about every bit of 50 or 60 miles per hour or more. Verbard, you are within this tornado warning, as is Lawson, just to name some other cities, Crystal Lakes as well. But as it's moving east and northeast at about 20 or 25 miles an hour, that's going to put it on a direct path going through almost the center of Ray County. And although that is a warning that stays in effect until 8:30, I'm still looking out the corner of my eye to see if they're going to expire it. And right now at 8:26, it looks like they are, as most of at least the rotation, not as tight as it was, but obviously something we're going to continue to watch and to monitor. What you're seeing in the window below me is some of the damage that was occurring. The location again, please, was that Lawrence, Kansas. So there you see where the system started and where it is currently. We'll continue to watch those pictures. I want to throw to the anchors just one quick second if I can. That way I can gather some more information on this latest storm track and gather some reports coming in from the spotters on this latest tornado warning, which is going to expire at 8:30 or so. Chris, Laura?
Clay County Sheriff's deputies just tweeting storm damage is being reported east of Kearney. No injuries reported. That's about as specific as they are getting right now.
And you know, Nick showed you that there's obviously going to be debris and everything in that area of Clay County around Excelsior Springs and Kearney. But what you are looking at is Lawrence, specifically south of Lawrence. We do know that emergency management is on the scene. At this point, we don't have any reports of injuries, but it is still early on from this tornado that has just been so destructive of this area. Homes have been flattened. We do know that Highway 59, there's a semi overturned. That's near East 1300 Road. KDOT is turning people around there. It is a parking lot in that area. We also know that the Kansas National Guard will be positioning several vehicles and personnel at KU Park and Ride near Clinton Parkway in Iowa. Those vehicles are there and they are going to be dispersed as needed all over the storm-related area.
One more thing, in Lawrence, the American Red Cross is planning on opening up a shelter at 9 tonight at the First Church of the Nazarene at 1470 North 1000 Road. Again, this is in the Lawrence area in Douglas County. The American Red Cross opening up a shelter at 9 tonight. The First Church of the Nazarene on North 1000 Road. Brian?
Yeah, so I'm looking at First Alert Live Radar, and Pete, I think you're at the controls of that. One thing that I was just noticing, and that's again why we're not out of the woods quite yet, Pete, if you can widen it out even more, maybe change to more of a regional view, because we're looking farther to the south and to the southwest, because there are a couple of other thunderstorms that are showing up. This is another tornado warning that was issued right in there from the Topeka National Weather Service office, a little farther, there you go. And this is now radar indicated, but this is still, believe it or not, although the atmosphere has been worked over, there's another line of at least severe thunderstorm warnings and even tornado warnings. All that to say that if they hold together, and if they continue to move in a north and northeast fashion, that would put it right in line with the Kansas City Metro again after 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock tonight. So although we still have one or two that are close to the Metro itself, that's this pocket that you see here. This is the one that produced the tornado for 2 hours plus, producing and generating many different tornado warnings. There's another line that's just now starting to form from Marysville down through Manhattan and going farther west of Emporia. More damage reports coming in. I think that's from Lawrence as well. That's some of the damage from when this tornado started. And radar estimates put the winds over 100 miles an hour. And as you saw from Johnny's pictures earlier, as far as Linwood, Kansas, showing you, I think that was as he was talking about a greenhouse. And even I know there's a solar farm out that way as well. Significant damage, houses off their foundations. Mercifully, knock on wood, no injuries or no deaths reported yet, but a lot of property damage still is the case, unfortunate but true. And as a result, we still are worried and still under the gun since we have this tornado watch that stays in effect until 10 o'clock. So severe thunderstorm warning out for Maryville up toward the Iowa state line. Tornadoes, the potential of which still out to the west, right along this line from Marysville, west of Manhattan, going down toward Emporia as well. See if Nick Bender is back in position. Throw it to him for just 1 second if we can. Nick.
I gotcha. Hey, Brian, this line of thunderstorms is moving to the east, and we're not going to be able to keep up with it. We've chased there many, many times. Road options are poor, and the storm is moving fast. We did get reports of damage back here in Excelsior Estates, and I think we're pretty close to it. Jim, yeah, you're pointing your finger. Keep going. No, keep going. You want to take a left here at Jesse James Road. It's going to see where those vehicles are up there. Yeah, we'll take a left there. We're going to move back here into south of Excelsior Estates and Excelsior Springs, where we brought the tornado through, tracked the tornado through, and see if there's any damage. See if there's any damage in here, Brian. When we get to the area that I think there is, because we've got firefighters, first responders that are rolling out here out of the hospital. So there may have been damage up there along the path. So we're going to kind of work our way around through here, Brian. We'll send it back to you.
Thank you so much. And right now, there you see, once again, as he is maneuvering through, and there are numerous damage reports, a lot of debris, a lot of power outages, and now we have to worry about heavy rain because, once again, these have had a history of producing heavy rain in addition to damaging winds, damaging hail, and the tornado threat that's been out there, and confirmed tornadoes on the ground, more than just one. So looking at First Alert Live radar with the Excelsior Springs tornado in our rear view mirror, but farther to the west, toward Maryville, Manhattan, and Emporia, that's the next line of thunderstorms that's going to be moving through. Right now, out of the viewing area, but still about ready to converge on that. Estimated time of arrival in the western half of the region, probably about 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock. Right now, though, as of 8:30, that tornado warning has been allowed to expire, and I've not seen any reports of hail quite yet. But we are still gathering some information, still looking at some of the storm spotter reports that are coming in here, and certainly going to update that part of the story. Power outages have been a problem, and of course, there are a lot of ponding on the roads, a lot of flooded roads as well. And so we still have to worry about a lot more severe weather. Tornado watch stays in effect until 10 o'clock. Brief second, if I can throw it over to Chris and Laura for just 1 minute, and let me start to look at some of those reports and get right back.
Sure. Lawrence Police, again, we're focusing on Douglas County and Lawrence, where it appears as if there's been quite a bit of damage as a result of this tornado tonight. Lawrence Police tweeting just moments ago, most structural damage appears to have occurred near Lawrence as the tornado passed just outside the city limits. We are not finding any major structural damage within city limits, but trees are down, power lines are down, there's debris along streets, especially on the southeast edge of the city. Some of these streets in Lawrence are impassable, so Lawrence Police, please asking people not to go sightseeing. This is not the time or the place for that tonight.
And as we mentioned, it seems as though emergency crews are maybe stationing in Lawrence, and then they are going to be dispersed elsewhere, because we know in some of the rural areas, especially around East 1300 Road, 1500 Road, south and east of Lawrence has been hit very, very hard. So everyone's trying to get organized, these emergency crews, and head out. You look at these pictures right now from News Chopper 9, and there's just tremendous damage and flooding. That is, and I'm not sure where Johnny is right now, but you can,
This is Lawrence right now?
He is in Lawrence. You can see all along the highway, there are vehicles just stopped completely.
Hey, Johnny Roland's up in News Chopper 9. Maybe you can give us a little better idea of where you are right now there in Douglas County.
We are going to be a couple of miles to the east of Lawrence, probably 3 or 4 miles east of Lawrence now, and taking a look at some of the damage here. Look at the trees down, uprooted totally. There is one to the right, used to be a house there where the white pickup is. We'll go ahead and zoom in. The house to the left doesn't seem to see too much damage at all. Got to tell you, I was completely turned around when we were trying to stay out in front of this tornado, as we thought it was much closer to Lawrence than it was. In fact, I think I even referred to that at one point. But it is pretty far to the south and east of Lawrence, all the damage that we have seen so far. And this is just some of it. Many houses that are completely off their foundations. Some new houses that look like a couple of subdivisions on the south and well, from the southwest to the southeast side of Lawrence. This a more rural area. I think that's the old K10 that we have right here as well. And Pat, let's go ahead and pull back from that, and we're going to go up and to the left a little bit and show you some more damage on what appears to be maybe a farmhouse up here. Keep going over to the left there. Look at the trees down across the road, completely blocking the road. Some structural damage over here. It looks like, yeah, maybe several additions to a house here, and then across the street another house hit too. I'm going to kind of throw you a curve here, Pat. I'm going to fly right over this, and then I want you to pull back and kind of look behind us as we have two houses that are completely demolished here as well. Go ahead and pull back and tilt down now. Of Douglas County, I believe we're still in Douglas County. It is not too far from here that we're going to be at Linwood. We'll be there in just a minute. That's where we see, well, we witnessed the tornado pretty much engulf, swallow up the small city of Linwood.
Yeah, just got back downstairs. Shit is nuts.
And pull back again, and we'll show this house almost completely leveled. Pardon us as we do some stuff on the fly here. And oops, a little too far. Pull back and to the right, and there you go. You're going to see an SUV. Actually, it looks like an RV on its side, an outbuilding.
All right, so we
lost his feed.
Lost Johnny momentarily. We'll get right back to him. He's in the rural areas just to the east of Lawrence. Johnny, we got you back.
Yeah, this again another example of some of the damage we've been seeing. You see power lines down as well. We'll tilt down a little. It looks like a trailer, maybe a car overturned here. Is that going to be a car overturned, or what was it? Maybe a boat? Yeah, it looks like a boat. So a couple of boats turned over there. So again, in this rural part to the about 3 miles, maybe 4 miles to the east of Lawrence, a lot of damage here. And we'll pan to the right. You can see the power lines down here too. Tilt down for me, Pat. There you go. And you can see those power lines down. They have blocked these roads where the power lines are down this evening, as they should have it. You got.
There's my phone again.
Running out of first responders. We've seen first responders almost everywhere we've gone, and
shut up.
And I'm thinking at some point they have to be overwhelmed with what we are seeing here. We're going to cruise on up to Linwood and show you the damage there here in a couple of minutes, and it is extensive. Back to you in the studio.
All right, Johnny, thank you. We'll talk to you when you get there. We do want to throw to a story that Brian Johnson just filed with us. He is in Lawrence, and he is amongst the damage.
We've just been on the ground here in South Lawrence where this tornado came through, and we're seeing the damage firsthand for ourselves. This is where the Harrell family lived. They tell us this was 2 stories with a roof, and you can see that second story is completely gone. The roof is gone. The trees all around their home are all lopped off by the massive winds that came through here. They said that they just found their second cat that was missing. So that's the good news, is everyone here is okay. They're all safe. They said thanks to all of the forewarnings, they had about 15 to 20 minutes to get out. They felt that their home wasn't safe when these winds came through, and so they went to a parking garage not far from here.
about 5 or 10 minutes away. And then once the tornado came through and continued, they came back, and this is what they found. You can see parts of the inside of their home are all over their front, back, and side yards. We talked with the son and the mother who lived here, obviously very shaken, very grateful to be alive. They're thankful to everyone who helped get the first alert out and to the National Weather Service for those warnings, because that is what they credit for saving their lives tonight and saving the lives of their many pets. Several of their animals were very wet, and you can tell that there's a lot of anxiety as they're getting ready to leave here. There's power lines are on the ground here in Lawrence. Power is out. Street signs are damaged. We've seen cars on the road. We're going to continue to gather more information, and we'll bring it to you as soon as we learn it. That's the latest in Lawrence. Brian Johnson, KMBC 9 News.
Now, here in the city, let's go ahead and show you some video there in that lower left-hand corner of your screen, that box. This is westbound 70 at the Benton Curve, where apparently the scene of a jackknife semi within the last few moments. As you can see, one lane of traffic getting by, but the backup, I'm sure, back into downtown at this point. Again, westbound 70, the Benton Curve there on the east side. Let's go back to News Chopper 9's Johnny Rollins. Johnny.
Yeah, we are north of Eudora here and looking at some damage here, trees across the railroad tracks. A lot of trees down here. We went north of Eudora. We want to show you Linwood here, but we're seeing a lot of flashing lights down in Eudora, and I got to tell you, try to sort through up here where all this damage is, and it just doesn't, for some reason, this just doesn't seem to be the track that we were ahead of. I'm sure that there was only one tornado track here, and I know Nick was talking about possibly two on the other. Let's go ahead and tilt down. We're going to show the damage to the trees here. Back behind us, about a mile or so, was the heaviest, or was the widest I saw as far as the damage was concerned through the trees. And,
Holy
and
shit.
that had to be about a half mile or so. At one point, we were estimating this could have been as wide as a mile or so, but it does not. I've not seen any evidence of that. So we're going to go ahead, pull back, and swing around to the front of News Chopper 9, where you will see the flashing lights of a ton of first responders as we come up to Linwood. I believe this is going to be the small town of Linwood, and you can see that the 32 highway here, I believe it is, completely shut down. Now they have kind of a convoy of first responders. So I'm hoping they're not transporting injured people. It is hard to believe. And Pat, let's go to down to the right there for me, and let's show those houses that are completely a little further right, and tilt up. It's hard to believe that we didn't have any serious injuries when you see damage like that as we zoom in on this, and you can see those houses completely destroyed. We'll pull back and just kind of continue following this, Pat, down as you come down just a little bit, and we'll see more houses damaged. Now, one thing we're noticing is that some of the houses have been completely destroyed, but
so my grandmother, who's now passed, probably, well, there was a tornado that came through the Midwest here, maybe almost 10 years ago now, and it took her roof off, and I guess luckily here, not mean luckily, I mean it's terrible, but there's not so many houses or so many apartments in a row. Holy shit.
Certainly the second floor completely gone.
Where she was, there was a bunch of houses and a bunch of apartments right next to each other, and it's just absolute panic scene.
And this is where we saw, of course,
like just paramedics all over and just looking for, you know, your loved ones, your animal, your pets, your.
One house completely destroyed.
It's just it's crazy insane.
And to the upper left, about the center of the screen, well, there's one right.
I'll never forget when we pulled up, like probably midnight, right after it had happened. Once it was safe to get out and about, all the debris everywhere, and just trying to even get to her apartment or her duplex or whatever she was in at the time.
Down to the foundation, pretty much. Maybe a few walls are left, and just imagine what the people inside of that house went through as this tornado was coming through. Again, can't make an estimate on this. I'm thinking at least an EF2, probably an EF3. Leave it to the experts from the National Weather Service who come in and assess the damage based upon the structures and how much damage was done to what kind of structure. We'll also go up the road just a little bit here, and I want to show one more thing, and go ahead and pan over to the left, Patrick. You can see here the trees heavily damaged, and it is, I don't know what greenhouse this was that we're coming up on, but it is pretty much destroyed. Now, of course, we know that they have those frames with plastic over them to, I guess, the hothouse effect for whatever plants they may have had there, and I do have the tower inside. It is what? 3 Straight Growers Inc., we believe. We just looked that up, and yeah, totally destroyed. Not much at all as far as even the bigger buildings there. Tilt down for me, Pat. Even the bigger buildings not seeing much in the way.
All right, so
It's total loss. I'm sorry. Anyway, yeah, this business a total loss and more damage across the street here. It looks like the city returned to. I believe those were some outlying homes and perhaps not. They might have been in the city of Linwood. Let's come around to the left, but I believe right here would be the city of Linwood is pretty unscathed here. Maybe a little bit of damage, a couple of trees down, but it's just to the west of that where we see all the heavy damage. And I just remember the eerie feeling as we watched this tornado just come and completely engulf those houses and saw all the power flashes, a lot of power flashes, and then nothing. And you knew the power lines were down, the damage was done, the power was off. And boy, from that moment on, a wild ride for the people inside those homes. Hopefully, thankfully, no injuries reported. We hope it stays that way. Seeing these pictures, hard to believe. We do know that we had the opportunity to get the early warning out. By the time the tornado was here, we had already been able to identify, even though it was rain-wrapped, a couple of times it revealed itself and how powerful it was. And of course, those pictures, Nick as well, the radar in the studio, all of those designed to give you all the best possible advance warning. And hopefully we were successful in that tonight. And we will continue to hear that there weren't any injuries, none serious at least, and no one fatally injured. Back to you guys.
all right, Johnny, we do have reports of injuries. There are victims that are showing up at Lawrence Memorial Hospital, which is somewhat of an indication that at least they were able to get to Lawrence Memorial Hospital. And so the numbers vary. We're not sure. We know that there are a number of people, but Lawrence Memorial is taking care of those folks. We did tell you about Highway 59 being shut down because of a semi overturned there. KDOT just said 59 Highway is back open tonight, but again, south of Lawrence, the damage is just tremendous tonight. So if you don't need to go in that area, you are asked by emergency vehicles and emergency management to not go in that area because some of those homes are just splintered to nothing but rubble.
Clarification also from Douglas County Emergency Management, who had tweeted that a shelter was to be set up at 9 o'clock tonight at the First Church of the Nazarene. Well, they just tweeted moments ago there will be no shelter at the First Church of the Nazarene because the church has lost power. They're working on finding an alternative right now. Westar, the last report that I saw from Westar Energy counted in the neighborhood of about 8,000 customers in Douglas County who had no power. That report is probably a half hour old. My guess is that right now that situation is probably north of 8,000. This is Westar Energy that we're talking about in the Douglas County area as we continue to get reports of damage. And these images, Brian, my goodness, these are parts of town that got stepped on pretty good.
Yeah, they did. And this tornado has had a history. I mean, it was on the ground for many hours, as you mentioned, starting it in Douglas County at about 6:30, and we were just now with the last warning almost to the 9 o'clock hour. So this has been a long tracking one that we had to deal with for a while, and a couple others that decided to come down as well. What you're looking at is some of the pictures from earlier, Douglas County, which is where it all began. And now to bring up to the here and now before we actually look at, Katie Horner's been doing a lot of research on exactly the path of that cell, and we'll give you that in just 1 second. But right now there are a lot more yellow boxes. Those are severe thunderstorm warnings. Remember, there's still a tornado watch until 10 o'clock, so not totally out of the woods yet. And then the other problem is we have to worry about heavy rain. And so those who are trying to rescue, those who are trying to recover, there's going to be heavy rainfall that's going to be out there as well. So it's not going to be an ideal night to be out. And still, now that the sun is going down, Power lines may still be on the roads, so it's not really a good idea to go out and try to sightsee at all. But here is first alert radar. I want to show you at least the severe thunderstorm watch, which is across the northern third of our viewing region from northeast Kansas through northwest Missouri. Heavier thunderstorms out toward Marysville, Kansas. Another cell that earlier had a tornado warning radar indicated coming out of the Emporia area, heading up, right up the Pike, and also a third cluster very close to I-70. So these are now severe thunderstorm warnings. And then we had earlier reports of a flash flood emergency that was in the city of Albany from north, south, east, and west. No way to get in or out of the city, and so we still have the potential for flooding to worry about as well. But here's the heaviest that's going through, and the reason we bring this up is it looks like that's going to once again affect us. Let me turn off this little update here that's coming through on my phone. But there's the heaviest of the rainfall, and the thunderstorms that are rolling through still have the potential for damaging winds, damaging hail. And because we still have a warm front that's pretty much cutting the viewing area in half, we can still see one of these guys lodge onto the front, and those are usually the type of thunderstorms that really start to ramp up pretty rapidly. We saw evidence of that very close to when it was in Excelsior Springs, or very close to it as well. So they can look like, oh, okay, we're dying off, and then all of a sudden go right back up the scale. Johnny Rollins has good damage. He's still out there toward Olathe, or that looks like Johnson County as well as Douglas County. Go ahead, Johnny.
Yeah, Brian, we're going to be about 2 or 3 miles to the north and east of Linwood along Highway 32, and it looks like, boy, the tornado at its most intense here, as we see several houses completely destroyed. There's one in the middle of the screen, to the top of the screen, next to it gone. We'll tilt down and show you the one just to the east of it gone as well. I mean, nothing left of that house. And we're going to make a little turn here and then look around back behind us as we have several houses across the street that are just completely gone. And where were those? I thought I saw them. Is it going to be back over here? I believe. Okay, just a little bit too far to the north. Look at what it did to the trees here, too. Yeah, several houses here as we come around still to the left. And it looks like across the street here, Pat, right there and tilt up a little bit by that pond. Looks like a house completely destroyed there as well. So the damage from this tornado, this long track tornado, extensive. Pull back, we're going to see another house that's gone here. Tilt up a little bit, you'll see that house gone to the left. I'm sorry, Patrick, to the left a little bit. Right there, zoom in on that. We're starting to lose daylight here. But as I said, this appears to be where the tornado, at least from the track we've seen, and we followed it all the way from Overbrook, by the way, which is pretty far to the south and west of Lawrence. It started very weak there, and as it's gotten farther and farther to the northeast, it appears as though here is where it was at its strongest, and this is where we are seeing several of these houses completely destroyed. It continues on to the north and east towards Bonner, and we're going to continue up there while we have a little bit more daylight and see what we can find up there for you. But yeah, really tragic. Just think of what all these people went through tonight, riding it through this storm. Horrible to hear we have injuries, hopefully none too serious. Back to you in the studio.
Picture's worth 1,000 words there, Johnny, so it's not just radar indicated, it's not just a tornado warning. This is a legitimate long-tracking tornado. And it is once again going to just cause all sorts of headaches. It's going to take a while before we really start to see the scope of this. Probably during broad daylight tomorrow we'll be able to see a little of that. Katie Horner has on our other computer system the actual path from beginning to end. Katie, go ahead.
Okay, sure. Using the radar mode, the Doppler mode that lets us see the storm rotation, I went back in time and just kind of hand drew where the radar was indicating the tornado. And as you heard Johnny say, we started tracking the storm actually in Osage County, near Osage City, and then brought it on up into Kansas City. Let me show you what it looked like as we were tracking it on the velocity mode. And you'll see it right there. See that green and red west of Ottawa. So as we continue bringing this up, it crossed over, it looked like Lake Pomona at 540, and then it moved into Douglas County, Overbrook at 550. It was at 610 over Lone Star, continuing to work up towards the KU campus, but it stayed just south of the campus at Broken Arrow Park at about 620, and then it continued to cross the Arkansas River, the Arkansas River, at Fall Leaf and Eudora at 6:37, continuing into southern Leavenworth County. That's when it hit Linwood, right around 6:40. Right there, you can see the intense rotation with that storm, the bright green, the bright red. And then it continued over towards Bonner Springs. Then it entered Wyandotte County. It's when it came up to I-70. As it approached 435 and I-70 at the Speedway, it weakened somewhat. In a weakened state, it moved over the 435 area of Kansas City. It moved over Parkville, the National, continued over towards Gladstone in a weakened state. And then just on the east side of Liberty, it re-strengthened again into another tornado, maybe even two tornadoes by Excelsior Estates at 8:15 before weakening, and that takes us through this storm, Brian. Once again, I'll show you that storm path. The National Weather Service will go in and analyze just how strong this storm was, but based on the damage we're seeing, this is certainly one of the most significant tornadoes we have seen in the Kansas City area.
Agreed there, Katie, absolutely. And this is not just a one-time rope tornado. This has been for a while, and still the damage is significant that's going through. Johnny's still circling there with the damage that's coming through. Storm Tracker 9 is also up toward Clay County. So we have both sides of state line covered. Johnny, let me throw it back to you because you're over a different neighborhood.
Keep going to the left. I'm sorry, did you throw it to me, Brian?
We did, sir, yep.
Yeah, okay, here we go. We are around, we're trying to think, Bonner Springs here. We're not, we'll give you our exact coordinates here in a minute, but we just came across a couple of houses that were completely destroyed. Let's go ahead and pull back, Pat, and it's going to be right there to the right. And look at those houses right there. Unbelievable, the damage done here. As you can see, it is starting to get light, I should say dark. We're losing our light. There to the left, then another one here to the right. And with that, of course, you're seeing more evidence of the strength of this tornado. Now, this was just on the other side of a little lake, and it's interesting that we know the tornado is moving in your screen here from right to left. So you would think the back of that house would have been taken away, but instead it looks like a lot of damage to the front part of the roof as well. We'll pull back and look at the house right below us here, and almost the same story. A lot of damage to the roof there. There is damage to the back, but it almost appears as most of it to the roof. Several other homes in this neighborhood here that is just about 3 or 4 miles to the north and east of Linwood, untouched. It looks like these two houses here were the unlucky ones tonight. Johnny Rollins, News Chopper 9, back to you in the studio.
All right there, so we saw the damage reports that are coming in here. Still got to talk about the here and now. Remember, there's a tornado watch for another hour or so. Stays in effect until 10 o'clock. Johnny's reporting out there, as you saw near Bonner, just to the north of DeSoto. As we widen our perspective out, here are the heavier thunderstorms with the torrential rainfall that's still going on. That's to the east and northeast, where some locations picked up about 1.5 inches to almost 4 inches of rain. And already it's saturated, and already flooding concerns are still out there. But since we do have the severe thunderstorm watch to our north, a tornado watch which is still in effect until 10 p.m., these are the thunderstorms that are rolling through the western horizon. If you look carefully south and west of Manhattan, there were a couple of tornado warnings that were issued. Radar indicated, still trying to see if the spotters out from the Topeka Weather Service office have had any confirmation of touchdowns there. But as you're noticing here, that line is still on the march back through the area. So even if we don't get another tornado, we still have to worry about the gusty wind possibility, hail to a lesser extent, but flooding concerns. That's going to be the next thing that we're going to have to deal with for later on tonight, which will hamper rescue, hamper cleanup. And once again, it's going to be a fairly long night for those folks who are going on out there. So we'll start to the north and west and then work our way down that line so you can see some of those storm tracks. And also looking out the corner of my eyes at some of the other reporters that are out in the field. Here's the heaviest now, east of Maysville, as Johnny's picture's still in the box there. And as you know, every once in a while, he will go back up there. And as you see here from west and northwest of Hiawatha, the heavier line is to the east of Maysville. And there's Beatrice, Nebraska. So this is the next line that'll move through. Estimated time of arrival for north of St. Joseph, or at least St. Joseph, and maybe right around 36 Highway, probably during the 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock hour. Farther down to the south, we'll go closer to between Lawrence and, say, Topeka. That's where we see another cell coming up from Emporia. And remember, that's exactly where this first tornado started. And so if we still see a feeder band or still see enough information to indicate to us that the atmosphere is not totally exhausted from the energy, we still see it strong enough to produce some severe thunderstorm warnings. And since we still have the watch box in effect until 10, got to watch these very carefully to make sure that we don't have any recurrence. Because remember, for a while, you're probably thinking, okay, it's over Kansas City, it's weakening, no problem there. Then all of a sudden it started to take another breath, got a little stronger, very close to that warm front, and that's why we had those tornado warnings out for Clay County, eventually heading toward Ray County too. So as we look at this in animation mode, we'll look at that immediate cell that was all by itself. There's the tornado warning, then it changes over to a severe thunderstorm warning out toward Junction City. Then the second one is farther down to the south. Actually, this one in the middle still has that shape that I don't like to see, a little appendage there. Still heading up the line toward Emporia. Heavy amounts of rain for sure. Maybe some gusty winds, which has probably prompted them for issuing those severe thunderstorm warnings. But if you draw a line, an imaginary line of that, from where they are to where, say, News Chopper 9 is, or the Kansas City Metro, they are right in line to the 435 loop. And if they hold together, then we have another problem as well, especially with those gusty winds. Pete is drawing exactly how far away they are. They're about 80 miles to our south and southwest, and they're moving at about 25
That's the
miles
one I have to worry about coming.
Still, after our 10 o'clock newscast and during the wee hours of the morning, we will still have to worry about that. We are now also looking farther to the southwest for more redevelopment that will still be out there. We wish we could close the book on the severe weather threat, but when it was a 3 out of 5, and in some cases moderate 4 out of 5, we knew it was going to be a busy night. And this is
20 miles per hour
right now.
80 miles away.
We also noticed that at least the 435
So we're looking at
the present
1
time,
a.m.
not really showing anything with regard
Central.
to damaging winds, damaging hail, but right on the back doorstep will be our next line of thunderstorms that are moving through. And the other thing is, I'm still looking out the corner of my eye at some of the spotters that are coming in here. And this next batch is going to be at least a little bit on the strong side, as damage reports are still coming in, and these are confirmed tornado touchdowns. And as you saw from Johnny's pictures, a lot of damage. So every bit of at least 100-mile-an-hour winds, just my particular estimate. And we were measuring it on radar. That is certainly the case, and it looks exactly conducive or exactly in line with what you'd expect from some of the damage that we're seeing right there. Laura, Chris, let me throw it to you, please.
About Clay County just a
Sure.
little bit, and I see that Storm Tracker 9 is still in that area. Right now, they are saying in Excelsior Springs there's major house damage, and there are a lot of roadways that are blocked by downed trees and power lines. So in Clay County, Excelsior Springs, in the Kearney area as well, be very, very careful. Because there is a lot of damage in that area. We'll hear from Nick Bender in just a couple minutes.
Real quick before we send it out to our Haley Harrison out in the Bonner Springs area. For you people in Douglas County, especially south of Lawrence, the American Red Cross has found a new location for a shelter, which is opening up at 9:15, so minutes from now, for those who have been displaced by this storm. It's going to be Building 21 of the Douglas County Fairgrounds at 2110 Harper. Building 21, the Douglas County Fairgrounds at 2110 Harper. The American Red Cross setting up a new shelter for people in Douglas County. All right, Haley Harrison in Bonner Springs. Haley?
Well, Chris, we're out here along Front Street in Bonner Springs, as you said, and this is the sort of tornado damage that we're seeing here in town. A massive tree, probably 75 feet, uprooted. Take a look at this. This is the kind of damage that Ryan Busby was telling us as he was preparing our team at Channel 9 this afternoon for the storms that were coming in tonight. He said this was the kind of thing that we were going to see just from straight line winds alone because of how saturated the ground is. This root ball of the tree lifted up out of the ground. Now, we are out in front of a veterinary business, and the veterinarian here, remind me your name.
I'm Dr. Paul Slider.
Dr. Slider. You and I were talking just moments ago before we came live on air about the fact that you were relieved when you pulled up to your business to see that this was the extent of it. You have about 12 cats and dogs inside and lots of very big trees surrounding your business. Tell me about that.
Well, it's a blessing. You just don't know. I mean, well, these trees have been here for, who knows, 150 years maybe, you know, and so not to see them on the building crushed, so, you know, on the west side of where the animals are at, you know, it's just going to be a matter of calling clients, letting them know that everything's okay, and we just got a lot of cleanup.
And I imagine they have been calling you, trying to get a hold of you to find out that answer.
I don't know, because there's no power on the phone, and so
spotty cell phone coverage
Yeah.
out here. Yeah, the all power's out
of
of
course,
town.
they'll be calling the clinic. They won't have my cell phone number.
Sure. You were also telling me that you live about 35 miles away from here, so you were watching these storms come through on the radar, like the rest of us. And tell me about your concerns as you were watching this storm plow right through your business.
Well, I guess I was out mowing all afternoon.
Oblivious.
So I was oblivious that my wife was even calling me and letting me know that this was going on. And then, of course, when she did get a hold of me finally, then we said, well, we got to get up there and see what's going on.
And that ends up being a long 35-minute drive.
Well, yeah, it takes 35 minutes, but you're just wondering, what are you going to find? And especially when you're listening onto the radio of all the damage that's been done in Lawrence and in Linwood, and they're looking down on the copters and just saying, well, the houses are gone. And so we didn't know, maybe this place was gone. And so...
And Dr. Slider, too, said that this area behind this fence, that you use this sometimes as an area to exercise horses or some of the bigger animals that you treat.
We sometimes will leave animals up here for nostalgia or letting people just see what little guys look like, and then sometimes we'll exercise the dogs back here, or even the police even housed a horse here last week, so that had gotten loose. So so we kind of use it for little different things, but it's not they're just not hitting the building. That's the lucky thing for us compared to.
I'm gonna be muted for a second. Go take this.
All right, thank
All right,
you.
I'm gonna take this phone call.
We're
Be right back.
Joy now, who is in Lawrence at the Church of the Nazarene that had originally wanted to set up a Red Cross shelter for people, but they don't have any power.
Right?
Laura and Chris, that's exactly what happened. We're here at the First Church of the Nazarene, and as soon as even the pastor arrived, they saw they didn't have power, so now they've changed that to the fairgrounds. The Douglas County Fairgrounds is the new shelter. If you're watching and need a place, do not come here to the First Church of the Nazarene. Go to the Douglas County Fairgrounds. I'm actually joined by the pastor, Robbie Giffen. Robbie, when you got here, what was the situation?
Yeah, we made our way out here because we had offered our building up for a shelter, and we're happy to do it. Get out here, and we have no power. And so obviously they had to scurry a little bit to find a place that did have some power here in town. So
now, when we got here, there was a crowd of people here. I thought they were people who were here for shelter. They were people who were here to volunteer. Your own home was in the path. You saying it's not affected. Right. But what does that tell you about just this community response so quickly?
Yeah, we just got the word out and said, it looks like we're going to be a shelter. And so I just texted a bunch of people and said, hey, can you get to the church and help me get things set up? And so I showed up, and there was already several people here, and obviously you got here, and there were 20 to 30 people here ready to go. But hey, we just adjust. You don't plan for things like this.
What are you hearing? You say you live in Eudora. What are you hearing from that area?
Yeah, we're just getting all kinds of reports. My phone's lighting up of, people that we know whose houses have been damaged, businesses that we know of that have been damaged, all the way from West Lawrence all the way up through Linwood area. So far, it looks like everybody is safe. But yeah, definitely just a crazy night. Yeah.
We know that the highway patrol has blocked off kind of a large area, not even letting residents in right now to their homes because of fear of danger. What is the next step? If somebody's watching this, they do need shelter, they do need help, what's your message to them right now?
Yeah, so the new shelter has been set up at the Douglas County Fairgrounds. They're up on Harper, Building 21. And we actually sent our people from here up there to help get them set up. So yeah, if anybody needs shelter, they're at the Douglas County Fairgrounds. They're getting set up.
Awesome, I appreciate it. I know that's where you're headed next. I appreciate it. I don't want to hold you up too much.
No problem.
Again, right now, guys, the First Church of the Nazarene does not have power, so they are not the shelter right now. It's the Douglas County Fairgrounds. That's where you should head if you need help. And again, there's a large blocked off area here from 59 Highway to Haskell, north to K10. Again, if you can't get into this area, even if you are residents, we're continuing to follow this damage, and we'll give you updates right here on KMBC 9 News. Reporting live from Douglas County, William Joy, KMBC 9 News.
All right, so the Douglas County Fairgrounds is where people can go if they need help from the Red Cross.
Yeah, and we are getting, this is really the first report of injuries in Douglas County, and according to Douglas County Sheriff's deputies, 11 people have been reported injured as a result of tonight's tornado. Also citing some reporting from the Lawrence Journal-World, 6 people have been taken to Lawrence Memorial Hospital with injuries from the storm, obviously, including one with serious injuries. 5 more people apparently headed to the hospital as well. And Lawrence Memorial Hospital has activated its Emergency Incident Command Center and is receiving patients as we speak. And they talk on Twitter of a great staff response and their thoughts being with all of those who have been affected by tonight's weather.
And although the heart of Lawrence, and that's where Lawrence Memorial Hospital is situated, was not hit by the tornado, you have to understand that the rural area surrounding Lawrence is what was hit the hardest. So that's why these people, the 11 people so far, have gone directly to Lawrence Memorial. So that's why they have set up their area, and they're taking in patients as needed, their emergency response.
Katie?
I would bring you up to date on the fact that we have more storms to come. So let me set the environment for you. Even though we have had a thunderstorm move through, we still have a lot of heat and a lot of moisture in the air for more thunderstorms to work with. There is a warm front coming right across the Arkansas River and the Missouri River. You see it's 75 in Olathe, 64 in St. Joe. That splits the warm air from the slightly cooler air. We've also got a lot of moisture in the air. Ottawa still has a dew point of 72. Also wanted to point out the winds just above the surface are coming from the west, southwest to the northeast. This is blowing that debris earlier in that storm towards the northeast. Even as we go higher up into the storm, how strong those winds are. That's why we're going to hear reports of debris being found, like we heard up in Smithville Lake. Debris was falling there from that tornado. Our storm center is still monitoring a tornado watch that is in effect for another 50 minutes for all of our counties lit here in orange. Also, the severe thunderstorm watch is in our northern counties, Atchison, Andrew, Nottoway, Holt, Worth, and Gentry, Harrison, and Mercer. Those yellow boxes you see off to the west, those are severe thunderstorm warnings, which we'll take a closer look at. But before we do, I want you to see that we have had a lot of rain, upwards of 2 to 5 inches of rain on top of the 6 to 8 inches we had in the last 3 days. So we are approaching 8 to 10 inches of total rainfall. Flash flooding is happening now. There are flash flood warnings in effect for every county that you see in red. And as we go into nighttime, that makes it even more dangerous. So in Maryville, Trenton, Chillicothe, Liberty, Kansas City, Leavenworth, and Lawrence, please be extremely cautious if you have to drive tonight. Even if you aren't in the threat of a severe storm, that flash flooding continues to be of great concern for us. Now, as we take you back to First Alert Radar, this is the radar estimates of how much rain has fallen, and in northern Missouri, we're seeing that 4 to 5 inches there. Let me bring you over to the radar and where you saw those severe thunderstorm warnings off to the west. I'm going to switch over to Topeka's radar, so bear with me as I click a few buttons here. Let me turn that off. All right, so when we look at the Topeka's radar, you can see these thunderstorms that are still heading our way. These are producing very strong winds and hail. I will track the entire line for you. You notice it's not a solid line. There is a break, but I want to track the whole line so you get the feeling of when these storms may be arriving in your area. They appear to be moving east-northeast at about 50 miles per hour, 45 to 50. You saw those strong winds helping to steer these storms in our direction. I'll lengthen the storm track for you. And this will bring these storms back over the area where people are out doing search and recovery, where they're trying to locate their items and making sure that everybody's okay. So I just want you to know there's more thunderstorms heading in. They'll be in Hiawatha at 9:22, Topeka at 9:28, Atchison at 10:04, Lawrence just after 10 o'clock, Eudora 10:16, Savannah also 10:16.
That's pretty much it for now until probably 1 a.m. or so as far as weather goes. I'm going to resituate my camera and be playing something here in the next 15 or so minutes. luckily, all my family's doing well. I appreciate the thoughts and prayers from my family and whatnot. And we'll get back to gaming. So, thanks for tuning in. Again, thanks for the thoughts. Very much appreciate it. And I'll be back in a bit. Peace.